Alright, so here's the motor in the Jag. It's I took it off the dyno last week, and on the dyno it's making basically 450 pounds of torque at 2000 RPM, and then it climbs up to 500 and runs out of fuel at 5000 RPM. And I think the issue might be the dyno. It may be the motor. I'm thinking I'm just not getting enough water in the dyno, but it's consuming enough fuel that it should be making 680 pounds of torque at 5000 RPM. So it works out like, if the dyno is right, if I can get enough fuel, it'd be about 660 horsepower at 7000 RPM. And if the fuel consumption is right, it should be in the 800 horsepower range, which that's a bit much at the boost level I'm running. But anyway, I figured to test the dyno I'd stick another motor on it, something bigger. So back behind all this mess is my 23, and it has a turbocharged 454 in it. Right now it's got 4 T3s and the intake off the Chevelle, and we're going to put it on the dyno. I'm going to run it normally aspirated. Let's see if I can get up here and see this. I'll run it normally aspirated, and I'm probably going to run it, I can get to them, with these manifolds with twins off the Chevelle and with the quad. So I have a huge mess to get out of the way so I can get the 23 out. I got a hood, a four-wheeler, a 600-pound piece of billet, and then just a bunch of junk. So I'm gonna try to get it out and yank the motor out and get it back in there, and so I can get the Jag back in. Anyway, here we go. That was 5 minutes. Wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be, but I got to do that every time I want to take it out. So I'm gonna run a broom, and then we'll be ready to yank it out of there. Alright, so here's the 23. The intake that's on it is off my Chevelle, and it's completely out of place, but I'm going to use it for some testing, and then I'll probably get a single 4-barrel with my EFI on it, and later on I'm going to make a billet stack like Hillborn and some billet cross rams that'll get tested on here. So I started this thing in 2001. I guess I was like 24, and couldn't afford what I wanted, but I could afford a $250 T-bucket body, and I'm not a big fan of fad tees, so I just made it the way I wanted to. So it's real short. It's got Carson top on it. It flips up so you can get in. 4 T3s on it right now, and the T3s, they should be good to about 1200 horse, the 4 of them. Model A headlamps, Model A grill that's been cut down. Radiator wheels, 6-inch in the front. It had, these were 6-inchers, I widened them. They're 11.5 now, I think. These tires are just temporary. I'm gonna get something probably about, well, that's a 27 that's on there right now, and I'm thinking of something in the 30-31 range. I want to fill that gap between the tire and the top some. Bring that up. Model A tail lights with the stop that lights up. I got twin gas tanks. They're 4.5 gallons each. The drive shaft goes through the middle, so you know, big fireball. They've been notched. I made the gas tank around this Franklin quick change. It's aluminum center, magnesium bells, and steel tubes. I basically built everything on here. So the 4-link setup is custom. Quarter elliptic springs. People look at it, they don't understand how it's hanging there. I got quarter elliptic springs coming out of the frame rails, and you can adjust the ride height by adjusting this screw here. Brake lines come out of the frame. I'm gonna go back and braze this so it doesn't get chafed. And the upper 4-bar link goes through the body into the roll cage, and the lower one's there. I can adjust that position there, and then the back ones are really adjustable. Get that instant center for launching or driving or burnouts. The steering box is up here. I got it out of a truck, but I won't name what it was, and I reversed it so it would work right. So yeah, my homemade steering wheel. That centerpiece is out of a turbo molecular pump. Anyway, so we got steering here, runs up to the front. Exhaust. Way overkill, but why not? I made the radiator shroud for the fan, frame rails. Oh, these are nice. You can't see them real well, but I made this part of the frame here swoop up. It's got a mid plate to kind of stiffen up the body, or stiffen up the frame rather. Solid mounts. Motor's balanced. I-beam came out of Dad's 33 Plymouth, and originally it's out of a Chevy van. Got Willwoods, 4 pistons on all 4 corners. Headlamps are Model A. I put halogens in them, and the amber that you see in there, that's the turn signal and the parking light. So when you have the parking lights on, they glow orange. And all this is polished up. Of course, that's not going to be on there, but all the stainless will be polished up. And the main reason I haven't been driving it is because these lower turbos, I've been having issues getting the oil out of them. And I had this little pump here, which is a power steering pump, and had all 4 turbos. Some of the tubing's gone. Had all 4 turbos draining into this little box, and I had some issues where it just didn't work at all. Then I built these little sumps, and it would work when it was running, but when you shut it off, the upper turbos would drain down into the lowers and just make a mess. But now I'm going to take it out and stick it on the dyno, and these upper turbos I'm going to replumb it so they just drain by gravity into the oil pan. And then I've bought a 2-stage Barnes dry sump pump that I'm going to use to suck the oil out of these 2. Made the grill, or the windshield frame. I'm probably going to redo those. Made the mirrors. Made steering wheel, I already said that. Yes, transmission tunnel. Seat pans. I've got to work out something for the dash. It's got cage in it. It's pretty short. It's a T-bucket, so flat fiberglass T. The doors aren't functional, and there's a roll cage in the way anyway. So to get in, up top, and you go. And that's that. And to get out, you just do the opposite. I've got it up in the air so I can get the engine hoisted under it. So I'll show you some other features. It's got a Watts link on the rear to locate the center. And I don't know if I can see it for the light, but it's got this tube that runs down the center of it. And that's so when it gets high centered, it doesn't tear up the rest of the car. And it's a heavy wall tube. So when it gets ground down, I just weld it up. And around the front, I didn't mention the radiator at all. It's a Be Cool radiator that I got off their eBay outlet, and it was damaged, but it was just some of the fins were bent on it, and it's going to get used anyway. So anyway, I had to cut it down. It's a double pass. I had to cut it down to fit in here, because otherwise it would have been like sticking out up in this range. And then in the bottom of it, it's hard to see, I had to notch it for the tube. And let's see, we've got, it's kind of ugly, I haven't finished it, but there's a tri-bar up front. This pin here is attached to a rod end, and it slides in and out of this tube. And that locates the front, and it's got the little quarter elliptic sticking out the front too. So I just kind of car just kind of floats there with no springs.